It all started with a couple named Nicholas and Emery, who met through friends. After 4 years of dating, they got married and pledged their marriage together. Nicholas was a devoted husband, an honorable, honest, and hardworking man who did everything for Emery and treated her like a true princess. Emery also loved her husband, but that would soon change. After 8 years of their relationship, Nicholas wanted to have a child and complete their family, but Emery was a woman whose desire for motherhood never crossed her mind, which left Nicholas frustrated. Nicholas loved Emery unconditionally and was willing to wait as long as necessary, thinking that she would change her mind, and he was very patient with her. Over time, Emery began coming home late and no longer paid attention to Nicholas. Emery was cold, distant, and treated Nicholas as if she had no interest in him. Whenever Nicholas brought up the topic of having a child, it was always a reason for a fight between them. One day, when Nicholas left work to go home, he saw Emery holding hands with a well-dressed and refined man in a square, in a very suspicious and intimate attitude. Nicholas was frozen by what he saw. At that moment, Nicholas decided not to make a scene and went home. As it turns out, the man Emery was with was Leo, Emery's boss, and the owner of the company where she worked as his secretary. Emery and Leo had been having an affair for a few months, and Nicholas never suspected his wife. Upon arriving home, Nicholas confronted Emery and said, "Emery, who was the man you were with in the city square?" Nervously, Emery asked, "What are you talking about, Nicholas? Are you crazy?" "I wasn't with anyone." In a serious tone, Nicholas said, "Don't lie to me, Emery. I saw you holding hands in a very intimate moment with a guy who looked like a magnet in the square today. Explain that to me right now." Then, in a mocking and cold tone, Emery came clean and said, "Since you found out, I tell you he is my boss Leo, the first been with him for a few months. I don't love you anymore, I've fallen in love with him, and I want to leave you and be with him. I want to be happy." Shocked Nicholas replied, "Are you crazy, Emery? What did I do to deserve this?" And Emery responded, "What did you do, Nicholas? What didn't you do? I'm tired of this simple life you give me. I want big things, and you're too stuck in the past. I don't like the life we are living." Nicholas then retorted, "Emery, I gave you the best of everything, never let you lack anything, and this is how you thank me." Emery replied, "That's life, my dear. Give me a divorce, move on with your life, and I'll move on with my life with a real man." Nicholas' heart broke into pieces at that moment, and he began to cry and say, "How can you do this, Emery? You're trading me for an affair. You're going to ruin your life. Think about what you're doing so you won't regret it later." Emery did not listen to Nicholas, and due to her persistence, Nicholas humiliatedly signed the divorce papers, and Emery packed her bags and left Nicholas' house. The house was part of the inheritance that Nicholas had received from his parents, and since they were married with partial property sharing and he received the house before getting married, Nicholas was left alone with the house. Nicholas was devastated and suffered a lot. It was like the world had crashed down on him. Emery moved into Leo's mansion and soon openly embraced their romance without the need to hide their affair anymore. Nicholas, sad and very disappointed, decided he would not suffer for Emery anymore. He realized that his relationship with Emery was beyond repair, so the first thing he did was destroy all the photos of Emery and erase her from his life to move on. Over time, he decided to take up swimming, running, and sports. Nicholas resolved not to let this destroy his life. Meanwhile, Emery and Leo lived their fairy tale filled with parties and superficialities. Emery and Leo had no idea what life had in store for them. After a long time following the separation, Nicholas transformed himself and began to see life differently moving forward. One day at the company where he worked, he met a new employee named Caroline. A young and beautiful woman. Caroline was humble, honorable, honest, and hardworking, always willing to help her colleagues at work. Nicholas decided to get closer to her and started a friendship that later evolved into a romance. They seemed to get along very well, went out together, had fun, and she seemed to have feelings for him. Nicholas invited her to dinner at his house, which Caroline promptly accepted. The relationship began to strengthen, and Nicholas fell in love, but he was puzzled by the fact that he had never been invited to Caroline's house. He respected the young woman and did not want to force her into anything. One day, on a weekend off, Nicholas saw Caroline playing with a boy and a girl in a park. He did not jump to conclusions but felt the need to hear Caroline's explanation. A week later, Caroline invited him to dinner at her humble home. During the dinner, Nicholas praised the food prepared by Caroline, and she decided to open up. Caroline revealed that she was a widow and a mother of 2 children. She called the twins, a boy and a girl aged 5, the children Nicholas saw playing with her in the park. Caroline explained that she did not want to force Nicholas to accept her situation but wanted to be honest and truthful with him. Nicholas, touched and moved by Caroline's sincerity, said that this did not change anything between them and that he accepted them as part of his life. The relationship grew stronger, and Nicholas began to visit Caroline and her children every day, developing a deep love for them. After 2 years of living together in Nicholas' house, he organized a beautiful dinner and proposed to Caroline in the presence of her stepchildren. They got married 2 months later and, over time, had 2 more children, Daniel and Lucy. 14 years after the marriage, Nora and Raphael, Nicholas' stepchildren, organized a party to celebrate their stepfather and mother wedding anniversary, recreating the wedding ceremony. The 2 young adults who considered Nicholas their heart father and hero worked and started building their own lives. Daniel and Lucy, Nicholas and Caroline biological children, also grew up happy and loved, completing the united and loving family. The bond between these 4 siblings was true, thanks to Nicholas and Caroline's good education of their children. Thanks to the sacrifices of Nicholas and Caroline, Raphael and Nora became great people, loyal to Nicholas, and truly loving him as their heart father. Nicholas made their mother happy, and both stepchildren knew that their biological father had passed away. So, Nicholas returned their love by organizing a weekend at the beach. But at the beach, Nicholas saw something that left him stunned and amazed. He saw a couple of homeless people, ragged, dirty, and seeming to be intoxicated. He recognized and saw who they were. It was his ex-wife Emery and her lover Leo. Nicholas wondered what had happened for them to be in such a deplorable and miserable state. He even thought about approaching the 2 homeless people to talk, but quickly changed his mind and decided to return to his family. Upon returning home, Nicholas asked Raphael and Nora to research a particular company, the company where Emery worked, and Leo was the owner. Here it says that this company went bankrupt about 11 years ago. It went bankrupt. Raphael added, according to the records, Dad. The owners, Leo and Emery, went bankrupt due to embezzlement caused by employees who stole a large sum of money and disappeared. Nora also said, that's what happened. Leo and Emery lost everything, and to pay off the debt, the mansion, cars, everything they had were confiscated by the federal revenue to pay for the losses. They ended up with nothing, Dad. Nicholas said, that's all I wanted to know, my children. Thank you very much. Caroline arrived at that moment and asked Nicholas, love, who were those homeless people you were staring at for a long time at the beach? I found it strange that you were looking at those 2. Nicholas asked, where are Daniel and Lucy? Caroline replied, Daniel is in the room playing video games, and Lucy is playing with our neighbor's daughters in our backyard. Nicholas said, then I can open up to you 3. Those homeless people were my ex-wife Emery and her lover, Leo. The people you researched on the internet. Yes. They were the ones who caused me so much pain and suffering. You know my history before getting involved with your mother, so it's not a secret. I was married and years later betrayed by my ex-wife, and I met your mother after the pain and sadness I went through. Like your mother, I hate lies, and the truth must be told. Yes, those 2 homeless people were my ex and her lover. The 3 were shocked and amazed at Nicholas' trust. The 4 hug each other, strengthening their family bond even more. Nora said, they are paying for all the wrong they did to you. Dad, now they're getting their bill. Raphael added, they're just reaping what they sowed. They deserve each other, Dad. Now they're seeing what they did to you. Caroline said, As I told you years ago, love, in this life, everything comes back around. Your ex and her lover are now reaping what they sowed. Nicholas replied, "Thank you, my loves. You came into my life at a time of suffering and anguish, and I love you. You, along with my children Daniel and Lucy, are my life. Daniel and Lucy will know this too, but in due time." One day, Nicholas was leaving work to go home, waiting for his wife Caroline, who was finishing up some paperwork. Once again, he saw the two homeless people, Emery and Leo, begging for money on the street. Nicholas thought to himself, how life is full of surprises. Even in their suffering, these two don't separate. They're like dogs that don't let go of the bone. As my son Raphael says, they deserve each other. It's hard to believe that there are such bad people in the world we live in. This time, Nicholas looked firmly into Emery and Leo's eyes. The homeless couple lowered their heads and walked away holding hands, as a way to show that they were still strong, even in the depths of despair, and to try to humiliate Nicholas. But deep down, they were burning with envy and anger at seeing Nicholas happy and radiant. In Emery's mind, it never occurred to her that Nicholas was married to an incredible woman, stepfather to two stepchildren, and father to two legitimate children, which would be a total humiliation for her if she knew. On another day, Nicholas was buying school supplies for his daughter Lucy and, as he was leaving the store, he heard a familiar voice. It was Emery, who was there. Nicholas, with a smile on his face, said, "Emery, long time no see, what you doing here, and where is your husband?" Nervously, Emery replied, "Leo is collecting cans to sell." "Nicholas, let me come back to you. I'll leave Leo now if you want. Just say the word, and I'll leave him now." Nicholas replied, "Emery, you're still the same gold digger as before. After all these years, you want to come back. It's too late. Thanks to you leaving my life, I found true love. I'm married to a wonderful woman, and I'm very happy. I'm a stepfather to two stepchildren and have two beautiful legitimate children. I am sorry, Emery." The line moved on, and for the better. Emery was shocked and said, "No. I thought we loved each other. This can't be happening." Nicholas replied, "You know, Emery, I even thank you for leaving my life. I found an incredible family and am very happy. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have met Caroline, my stepchildren Raphael and Nora, and my children Daniel and Lucy. I thank God in life every day for putting Caroline and her children in my path. Now go your way with your lover Leo, and I'll be happy with my family." And Nicholas walked to his car and drove away without looking back, leaving Emery frustrated for giving happiness to a widow with two children. She followed her only option, Leo. When he arrived home, Nicholas told his wife Caroline everything about the unexpected encounter with Emery, not hiding anything. Caroline was proud of her husband and happy with his trust, so they hugged and kissed warmly. 1 week later, Nicholas, Caroline, Nora, Raphael, Daniel, and Lucy went out to lunch at a restaurant, and the 6 of them were very happy. Together, the family was strong, united, and very happy. On the other hand, Emery and Leo were homeless and practically drowned in alcohol and mud, and they probably lost their minds and had no idea that life had charged them for everything they had done to Nicholas. The bankruptcy of Leo's company after the embezzlement by the employees practically must have driven Emery and Leo crazy. And Nicholas was happy and strong with his stepchildren Nora and Raphael, the love of his life Caroline, and his legitimate children Daniel and Lucy. He saw that life had rewarded his fidelity, love, and loyalty to those who truly love him. That's it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed our story today about Nicholas and how important it is to be faithful to what you believe in. If you like our stories, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any videos. See you next time.